Interesting. Why was she standing in front of a Google? I'm going to click through this later and see why she's standing in front of a Google sign in a couple different pictures. Kind of interesting. But you know, she a couple days after being appointed, she announces on Twitter that she's like 6 months pregnant, and the amount of backlash she got from everybody was just unbelievable. You know, and I think one of the best comments I read on the internet about this, because I was curious about it when I heard that she was receiving backlash. I was curious about what she was receiving backlash about, and they had said, you know, you never see an expected, you know, father ever get backlashed on the backlash, you know, from a CEO standpoint. And I kind of agree with them. You know, men don't technically get backlash from their expected fathers. No, I'm not a father yet, you know, but it's interesting to see, you know, the kind of responses she got. Ladies, you know, if you want to, feel free to talk about this. You can, like I said, Twitter at LaPannyTech. I think it was ridiculous. I think it was stupid. You know, equal rights. I think it's just ridiculous. I mean, she's the 20th woman to be appointed, you know, head of a Fortune 500 company. All I can say is, you know, God bless. I hope she does the best. I hope she does really good with it. Actually, I'd like to see Yahoo stay around. It's actually our hosting provider. But I like their company. I remember when they were GeoCities. I mean, that's how far back I go with them. But you know, I hope she does something with them. They're a good company. All right, and by the way, we're just talking about Windows 8. By the way, it looks like it's going to have an October 26th release date. For those of you that are wondering. One of the other thing too, since we're on a hardware topic, Dell says they're going to offer a Ubuntu laptop again. Didn't go so well. Actually, TechCrunch is reporting it. I don't know. They tried the Red Hat. I remember when I was in college, about 7-8 years ago. Showing my age. They said they were going to do a Red Hat desktop. They were practically giving them away, and they couldn't get rid of them. I bought one. I'm, you know, a big Linux guy. I'm pretty impressed. And I think it's cool. The major vendors picking them up. It'll help with driver support and all that type of stuff. But I don't know. They said they're going to do it again. I don't know. I don't see it really taking off for them. I mean, the hardcore Linux guys like me, you know, will buy one, but I can't see that really taking off for them. I'm glad the hardware vendor is supporting the Linux OS. I mean, it's a great OS. I know myself, I use a lot of times for SSH, I use a Linux VM, and I SSH in using a pretty beefy key for encryption. Then I spawn whatever I need from there. It's a great OS. I mean, it's fabulous for security and all that, but I can't see it taking off as far as desktop goes for a home user. I mean, I know I've gotten a couple people that have on a couple netbooks that have come in for people ask me to repair them, and it's, you know, Linux, and the people don't understand it. They're like, "Where's Windows?" You know, can't see it taking off for them. But again, glad to see a major vendor supporting it. I know, you know, HP a while back said they were going to support Ubuntu servers, and I think that was a great move. You know, a major hardware vendor, you know, supporting it on the server side. I think that's really important. I know a lot of companies, especially using Ubuntu for an appliance, I've noticed that. I see it a lot as appliance. Can't say I've seen too many people running it as a. You know, I see a lot of appliances running Ubuntu more than Red Hat, more than SUSE. Now SUSE, I think pretty much Novell purchasing them is pretty much the nail in the coffin for that company, but that's nor here nor there. But no, I do really, you know, I see Ubuntu a lot. I see Ubuntu a lot more than I see any other Linux distro out there right now, which is great for them. They're a wonderful company. You know, they're actually my distro of choice. And actually, a lot of other distros that we use in security here, like Backtrack and some other ones, are Ubuntu based. And I say Ubuntu based, and I know this is, well, Debian and Ubuntu is not a big difference. It's, you know, when you bring the kernel up and it says Ubuntu on it, you know, it's Ubuntu built, I guess you could say, but it's not too bad. Actually, a friend of mine the other day, my friend Howard, actually, I got to get him on here, do some Apple stuff with me. We should do an Apple podcast. That'd be pretty cool. He actually made an Ubuntu desktop look like a Mac. I mean, like almost exactly like it. A lot of guys are doing that. It's pretty interesting, actually. There's a lot of support for that. But one thing I do have to say, though, anybody out there that's running the Red Hat server OS, Red Hat's done an incredible job. They're, in my opinion, they're the biggest, you know, they are the biggest Linux vendor out there. But one thing I have to say about them is they have their CentOS is a major, in my opinion, a major competitor for them. I see a lot of people that used to have Red Hat going over to Cent, and I like Red Hat. I enjoy them. I hope they stay. I'm sure they will stay around, but a lot of people going to Cent nowadays. It's an alternative. Oh, let's see. Well, I mean, we might as well get into the security news, I guess, and then security topics of the day that I wanted to bring up. Yeah, let's get into that. That's a good idea. I'm not wrong. I love technology news, but let's jump into security because that's really what we're about. By the way, iOS 6 Beta 3 has already been jailbroken. Is that not amazing? Already. Unbelievable. Well, you know what it is. Everybody wants to tether them. That's what it is. Droid does it, out of the box. It, you can tether it. Actually, you can jailbreak it, but out of the box, you can plug it in USB, and it shows up right as a network connection right on your PC. I was actually very impressed how simple it actually was. There's a button you hit on it, and it shows up as a network drive on your machine. Really impressive. Right out of the box, it does that, and you can use your Droid as a hotspot. And there's a lot of other things you can do with your Droid as well. You can jailbreak it, so but without even having to jailbreak it, you can use it as a hotspot, and you can even use it as, you plug it in via USB and hook it up to your computer, and hit one button, and all of a sudden, boom! It you have a network connection, and you're out on the World Wide Web. So it's pretty interesting. A lot of built-in features into Droid that Apple doesn't have yet, and that's kind of where I've been going with this. That is one thing that, like I said, Apple really need to work on getting back ahead. They were ahead for a long time. Now they're falling behind, so they need to step it up if they want to stay number one. But like I said, the iOS Beta 6 already jailbroken. Unbelievable already. Unbelievable. And like I said, because everybody wants to tether, and Apple doesn't support tethering. They need to shape up their act. Somebody needs to do do like a seance and bring jobs back. Not that I believe in that stuff, but I just think it's kind of funny. So, another 400,000 user accounts hacked from the Nvidia developer forums. Nvidia had a press release about it. Nvidia suspended operations today of Nvidia developer's own website. We did this in response to an attack on a site by an unauthorized third party who may have gained access to a hashed password. So good, the passwords were hashed; they weren't kept in clear text. By the way, if you ever submitting trying to create a username and password for a site, and the site tells you, your password, needs to be, we're having trouble, determining your password length, or it says your password length was this. Be very leery of those sites. It usually means your password being stored in clear text, so be very careful of that. It's very, actually, like I said, if it happens out there. Anybody that doesn't hash passwords, I think it's just crazy. But no, be very leery of that. If it tells you, we're having trouble determining, your password is this length, be very careful of that, because, like I said, your passwords are being stored in clear text most of the time. We are investigating this matter and working around the clock to ensure that secure operations can be restored. As a precaution measure, we strongly recommend that you change any identical passwords that you may be using elsewhere. So, any of you that have Nvidia developer forums, 400,000 user accounts, somebody can break the hash. It's not that hard. So, if you have an Nvidia account, I strongly recommend you change your password. Interesting thing, too, it's kind of a security thing, I guess, but Skype's patching that bug that you sends instant messages to third parties, by the way. So any of you that are have Skype or using Skype, I know myself, I use it. Make sure you run that patch. It'll help a little bit. I'm really impressed with Microsoft, by the way. They've been really good about keeping Skype up to date, keeping it on the right track. Really impressed with them. I thought it was going to be a product that Microsoft was going to kill. I'm not saying intentionally, but I thought they were going to do something with it and, crush it. But I'm really impressed with them. They've been really good about keeping it up to date, keeping it running smooth, not having any outages, anything like that. Probably because they run a Linux backend. No, they do actually, believe it or not. There's actually been people showing on websites and stuff that Microsoft's running a Linux backend. And they say, well, why is Microsoft running Linux? Well, the fact of the matter is they didn't develop the product from scratch. They purchased it, so they're trying to get their money out of it. Plus, two, why break something when it's working? So let's see what else we have here in the news. Oh, by the way, Google, I forgot about this. Google Voice was hacked, 400,000 passwords leaked. A list of over 450 email addresses and plain text passwords have been leaked in a document marked owned and exposed for users. So those of you that are using Voice over the Internet Protocol, VoIP, for Yahoo Voices, change your password too. It's amazing how many people are getting. Another one. Millions of passwords leaked from social site Formspring. Now, for those of you that don't know, Formspring and CP Panel are very, very similar. Most websites use CP Panel. I don't know anybody actually uses Formspring, but I'm trying to think if I know any sites that use Formspring. I don't know. I don't think I do, but just so you know, they well had a passwords of all 28 million users that have been disabled in the company because of the issue. Pretty interesting. I guess for me, the big topic. By the way, just so you know, too, they finally found a way around so that WikiLeaks can accept credit cards again. Just FYI, anybody out there that wants to, donate to them, there's a way to do it now. Microsoft, by the way, patched 3 critical vulnerabilities on Tuesday. That's also really important. By the way, July 9th, I don't know about any of you, but I didn't see the internet come to an end. Doomsday. That was the biggest joke. That was hyped by media, and media didn't fact check it, and joke is on them, man. So I guess what the thing I really want to talk about was this whole thing with the Cisco over the cloud router service. Let me tell you that is just a nightmare. I mean, you go out to the cloud to manage a router. I mean, nothing can go wrong there, right? I mean, not to mention you're managing something out in the cloud and it's talking back to your router, which is probably sitting next to you at your computer desk. And you hit apply and it's to send settings to it. And of course, the internet drops. And who knows if the settings were applied before the internet dropped. Yeah, and what I thought was kind of interesting is that they say Cisco, apparently, these routers talk back to them, and they said, okay, once you talk back to us, we're going to give you an update to the firmware. Did the firmware upgrade? And lo and behold, everybody got a bona fide, packet collector, keylogger, pretty much. I just got a serious problem with them, collecting data that they don't need. They say they're keeping the data for monitoring purposes, but what do they need to monitor my traffic for? Sounds like the piracy industry at its finest. It's on models EA 4500 and EA 2700. Now, here's what's interesting. Because of the backlash from this, Cisco went as far as to release a patch that would let you downgrade the firmware. So, but here's the thing. How many people had it and didn't know? That's what really kind of, that's what kind of really, upsets me a little bit. How many people log into their router every day, And I think it was really ridiculous that Cisco went as far as to do something like that. I'm Googling here. One of the things I had read about was this with the terms of service with this. Apparently there's a terms of service. Here it is. I finally found it.